Hey guys, we are on a golf court that one of the neighbors loaned us. Spruce Row Campground, Ithaca.
What was that?
That was the window. Popped off. Was it on video?
Well, it's not a big deal, really, to be honest with you. I just bought the windshield, 2 days ago. It was brand new.
I didn't expect that to happen.
I had just bought duct tape 2 days prior to that, knowing that he was going to be in town. And I figured I'd be prepared because people have already warned me about him borrowing things. There's another couch that goes here, but I took it out because I wanted to go.
This is nice, right? Draws me to camping. It's probably the freedom in it, and the being involved in, being closer to nature and stuff like that. Really seeing the world, rather than being in that box that I was in before. Meeting different people at different stories, and it kind of reminds me of, like, you see these old folklore shows where the guy would come back from a traveler, and he would start telling stories about where he's been, and everyone sat around and was like, wow, That's what happens here every time we're camping. There's somebody you meet from somewhere. Like, we met a guy that went to Antarctica, was a mechanic down there for 6 months working on these snow plows and stuff. And we're like, what? Never seen anybody do anything like that. And of course, meeting the cops and retired veterans and stuff like that. That's been the biggest plus. There's a big community out there of us,
The truth is, when you're about to do something like this and you're selling your home, moving into an RV, and you're going to travel the country, it sounds all great, but it does come with fear. When I got to meet Eric, he was the first full-time RV guy that I had met. And also to find out that he was law enforcement, we instantly had a bond there. So to talk to them who were living full-time RV kind of gave us a whole lot of confidence in what we were about to do.
Once I introduced myself and told him who I was and kind of got into my story, he was accepting right from the very moment. Almost like an instant connection is what it was. It was almost like we had known each other almost my whole life. And it was from that start on, it was just a awesome friendship that had started within minutes.
He's passionate about what he believes in. He's a helper. He, just outside the job, he sees people that are suffering something, and he wants to be that helping hand, that guide. He wants to be that, person to talk to. You can tell he's very genuine. He believes in what he's doing, and I think that's great. And I think it's a message that is being sent to a lot of people. I think this is just the beginning of something big. I think he's just scratching the surface right now.
I wanted to be a cop since I was as young as I can remember, 4 or 5 years old. Some of my earliest memories, I wanted to be a cop. And when I got hired on,
wasn't it awesome?
It was.
God, it was the baddest thing, man.
I'll never forget the phone call. The chief at the time called me on a Friday evening. And I was set to leave Sunday to go back to Iraq.
Wow.
And he's like, hey, can you start on Monday? And I was like, yeah.
From Iraq to going back to
it's going to make
Tennessee.
some people mad. It's going to make some people mad because I'm leaving in 2 days. But now I didn't wind up going. I stayed. And, man, I was so happy. I was so excited, full of piss and vinegar, just ready to go save the world. And that changed. I got sick of missing the birthdays, the ball games. I got sick of being home but not being present. I wanted to have a bigger role in my kid's life and with my wife. And I hit that burnout period. When I first got hired on, I was that typical rookie. I was so excited to get to work. My uniform was always sharp, polished. I was dressed an hour before I had to leave. I was ready to get in there. And once I hit that point, once I got burnt out to the point where I didn't see any way out of it, to me, it was more dangerous for myself and for others to keep going. In December of 2020, I had been involved in a critical incident. I was involved in an officer-involved shooting, and I seen how that affected my family. And everything else that I had dealt with was me by myself on the job. This was the one thing that brought the family into it. And I saw the anxiety that it created, right? And I thought at that moment, I don't want to put my family through that anymore. So I had started a business while I was a police officer. And I had built that business, me and my team, we had built that business to a point where we could sustain. I could do that full time and leave the profession to those that were in the right mindset to do it.
I've been full-time camping for the last 2 years, and we've come across a lot of retired officers, retired first responders of any sorts, or military, and it was so therapeutic to talk to these type of guys. I just saw there was a need for it, and let's have one.
Getting together like this in a safe environment without scrutiny for everything that you're doing, it allows you to relax and just be yourself. And there's therapy, there's everyday therapy around you when it involves good conversation, good connecting, and laughter.
You got to hear the story about the bird, how he first found it.
So
I wish you had it.
This was before we left on our trip. We were headed up to one of the Adirondack lakes, and we passed this house, and the people are like waving at us. And honestly, with the police background, I'm looking and I'm diagnosing stuff really quickly. And
you're on duty.
I'm looking at all the stuff in the front yard and the chaos coming out of the trailer, and I was like, oh man, this is like domestic something. And we're going slow around the corner, and they're like really waving at us. And he comes up and he's like, do you know you're driving on a rim? So here I am making some passing judgment about
on them, and they're
trying to help me. We died laughing about that. I jacked the camper up, I get down, I'm changing the wheel, got the impact wrench out to take the wheel off. Well, as I do, Tiffany standing over my shoulder, she goes, Dan, grab that chicken. And I look down and there's this tiny little bird. And we had raised chickens, so I'm like, oh, there's a chicken. And as I'm like on my knees, the chicken just runs up and I pick it up, hand it to Tiffany, and she says, oh, cool. So back in the truck, and then the bird is on my center console. This chicken is on my center console.
Just hanging out.
And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. She's like, well, I walked up and down the road, and there was no houses. I don't know. It's obviously a young.
What about the people that waved you down?
It was a young bird. They said there was nobody that they knew of that had chickens or birds in that area. The guy next to us, after a couple days of camping, he's like, do you have a bird over there? And we're like, yeah, it's just like this chick we found on the way here. And he's like, hold on, let me see that. So he comes over and he's like,
it's a bird guy.
looking at it, and he's like, that's not a chicken, that's a grouse.
I was really hoping you guys came back and you were still going to have Lucky with you.
Well, Lucky,
They take Moose for walks, and Lucky would go on walks with them.
Yeah,
Just follow them all around.
I forgot about that. It was about getting a bunch of cops together, don't know each other, and just with no barriers. We're not on a scene together where we have to act all professional and we can't, talk about that scene, or there's none of that here. We can sit back, drink a couple beers together, tell some war stories, exchange phone numbers, find out where your plans are next summer or next trip, and maybe we're going there too, let's meet up.
When we first talked about it, I didn't know if he would follow through with it, And he was like, yeah, I really would like to do something like this. We'll call it Cops and Campers.
We all go through, as first responders, law enforcement, fire, EMS, we experience traumatic events that the everyday person doesn't see, and we all suffer our own demons based on what we see on the job, and I could relate to what he was doing. So it's a subculture that we all work the same job and we experience the same things that normal people don't.
Yeah, we had a movie night Friday night, the kids could sit around their blankets and chairs or whatever and watch a kids movie, and we had a bonfire. Everyone just casually walks up, introduces themselves, or what agency you with, or your family may be related to law enforcement, and real casual.
What a silly dad.
we adapt to the job, and
Yeah, I forgot about like celebrating Christmas the day before because I had to work.
Yeah.
or,
Well, you're
you know,
working because somebody has to.
Somebody, right?
we're talking about our history and our careers and what we've done and stuff like that, and where we're at today and where we were before and how it's affected us.
Talking about a moment that he had that was really.
When he was at 9/11.
Yeah, so I was fresh in Groton, New York Fire Department. I was down there for 2 days. Didn't transport anybody, unfortunately. But, just that moment to see everybody on their knee as they're bringing a limb or a piece of a body from the rubble. I said, I got home after that 2 days, and I don't think I ever hugged my wife harder.
Yeah.
It was just like, you take for granted every day, living life and doing what you do until you see those kind of events, and then it kind of makes you realize that things are more real than others may realize. And
That's real.
yeah, it certainly is.
So I just got off field training officer, and I worked the midnights, and we got sent to a house for a woman that was in labor. And it's like I never did with this stuff.
Never did childbirth.
So my sergeant shows up, and we're at the house, and he's like, I've delivered puppies before, and I'm like, I've never done that. I'll entertain the kids. You have at it. And he delivered the baby, and I'm like, I never did any of that. He's like, we went through the academy how to do all that stuff, but when you actually do it, sure, if I got forced to do it, well, hey, Sergeant, you can pull rank right here. You've delivered, Labrador puppies. There you go. Here it's coming. It's coming. You can deal with it.
More experience than I could.
But that was kind of funny.
It was a boy or girl, do you remember?
It was a boy, yeah, and he kept the tabs with me. The family let me know how he was doing and everything, and yeah.
And now he's a police officer.
Yeah. No, I don't know what he's doing now, but
He's doing 10 to 20.
first responders have a sick sense of humor because that's how they can actually cope with what's going on.
Yeah, it's a coping mechanism.
It may not be reasonable with the everyday person, but it's something that you have to crack jokes about it, because if you take it too seriously, it's going to eat at you, and you're going to take that home and you'll be like, oh my God. You have to joke about it so that moment is you're joking about it. So when you go home, you can still think about that joke, even though how serious the event is. There's that joke there that's like sort of cushions the blow.
Unfortunately, people outside of, I think, any kind of first responder service, they take things at face value without that emotion, the trauma of dealing with the situation. And I think that causes a lot of unneeded criticism because they don't understand what you go through in that moment. Obviously when you respond to any kind
with the victim
of, yeah.
at the time.
Pulled up at Niagara Falls on July last year, before the flag gate incident, July 6th. This is like July 3rd. I'm like, let's go check out Fort Niagara. We get there, we're in the parking lot. I didn't know they're having a reenacting a war. All of a sudden, I hear cannons going off. I'm like, what the hell's going on, And I hey, get back to the car. I'm wondering, they're just test fired the cannons.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But I went straight to, oh my God, something's happening.
Yeah.
And then I don't calm down from that.
So no.
That little spark.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids
your
are enjoying it. Why isn't
your
anyone
adrenaline
bleeding? And I
and-
go, it's all pretend. But I'm right there.
Yeah.
I've been retired 2 years.
I have owned the campground since 2010. I've worked here since 2000. So I'm in my 23rd year working and operating. Last year, about this time, little before this time, in June of 21, I stumbled across his story on Facebook from his incident at another campground and around the Blue Line flag.
A friend of mine through socials had shared an article about a police officer who was involved in a campground in New York State who had flown police flags at his site, and the campground asked him to remove those flags.
I remember the article, the news, when he was up in Ithaca, New York.
There was a disagreement that they had with me about me flying my thin blue line flag. And I thought the guy was joking when he told me to take it down. Policies were very vague. I saw Canadian flags, I saw military flags. I didn't think much about putting up a flag that honors my fallen brothers and sisters, So So you're asking me to take my American flag down?
Your blue line flag down.
Who's saying that?
Corporate.
We just been at another 5,000 trails. They never asked us that.
That's what they told me.
Who told you?
My boss, Crystal.
Have Crystal come talk to me. You know, I kind of got explicit on the video and lost my cool a little bit. You can see some of my PTSD coming up in that moment. I'm a retired police officer. I took a shot. I killed a guy in the line of duty. That flag represents my brothers and sisters. And they're gonna send some piece of shit over here to ask me to fucking take my flag down? Yeah, you know, whew, not proud of the way I acted on that video, you know. Being in a shooting and get into a critical incident like that, you get into a primal state, you know, into the red, and it brought me back there. And I don't like that person, you know, because it's a very aggressive, violent, like instinct what you're feeling, you know. And you know, I work hard on it all the time. You know, I've had to learn how to dance with it, and I've had some great therapists that have helped me, great people, and I was totally offended. I was pissed, shocked. I was shocked. Nobody ever told me to take down a flag before, not in the United States of America, right? So yeah, I kind of lost my shit there a little bit.
We talked about it. When that happened, I was pretty angry with him, you know, because I didn't like the way he reacted. And when he turned it around and he said he wanted to do something like this and help cops by getting them together and allowing them to talk about it, about what they've gone through, you know, like a brotherhood, trusting each other and having deep conversations, you know, talking to people that understand what you go through is very therapeutic.
My mind just started thinking, what can I do with this? What can I do with this, you know? And the more people I talked to within that campground were supportive. Old retired cops are coming up to me and saying, hey, yeah, they made me take down my flag last week. I'm like, what?
And was pretty upset with what I read and what I saw. And being a big supporter of not only police, but all emergency services, military, you know, all that kind of thing in general, I immediately reached out to him. My son Hunter helped make contact with him. And you know, we're a family-run campground, and it means a lot to us to have other families here. And we immediately reached out and asked him and his family to come spend a week here and proudly fly his flag. And that's kind of how our relationship started.
He was the first one to offer us a place to stay. And I picked his brain. I'm like, hey man, what do you think about having a Cops and Campers event at your site? And he's like, absolutely, let's do it.
And I said, just tell me what you want to do, and I'll do the legwork, and we'll make it happen. And that's so here we are, you know, a year later, and we're making it happen, and I'm super proud of that.
Saturday came along, and right out the door at 10 o'clock, you know, they had the I can't think of it, cornhole tournament.
Waiting for a spot on an angled line, driving to the outside, wasting my time. Took my place high on a rise. Look at them ants push away their prize, but I'd be free as a bird in a Walmart parking lot. I'm proud to be just who I am. Salute the flag just like Uncle Sam. My Yankee do good without a dime. Work for nothing in their overtime. That be free as a bird.
All right. 675 blue.
Payroll deduction for a 1K.
I know it's pretty intense. There's a whole lot of cornhole professionals here that I feel like are
try to dial in their skills. But as you can see, we're down to the tail end. It's a tough competition, but I don't know, I think we're going to make it through to the end.
You need a victory speech.
Speech! It was tough. It was hard, but somehow we persevered.
Well, the Chevrolet Chrysler parts board were working good.
Yeah.
Everything was going good. We were drunk just enough, but they won.
You know, things got a little challenging there in the end. What was your strategy for making that comeback?
My strategy was let him score because I couldn't. It was well thought out.
All right, ready? All right, straighten it out. Corners out. Good job. All right, ready? We're going to do it just like this. We're going to put your head down towards the ground, okay? All right, lower. Lower, and we're going to lean it. Watch your heads.
They had the Army National Guard out here with these obstacle courses and bounce house type of play areas for the kids. They even had the kids help them set it up. You know, that was outstanding to get the kids involved in that.
We're going to let it inflate.
Kids were at the obstacle course, timing each other with the National Guard, going through the inflatable obstacle course, which was really fun.
Go, go, go!
I thought that was super cool because even though we're first responder families and my children are first responder kids, the National Guard is a different entity of first responders. I thought that was really cool because that was just extra to see them in their recruitment uniforms. But I mean, even like just Spruce Row in general, like the owners, they do the hay rides, and it's like as soon as he blows that horn, the mass of children that go running to the hayride, and it gives us parents like 20 minutes of peace.
They got the pool, they had hay rides on the tractor. Scott's just a beautiful person, you know. Here I go again. You're gonna see Patrick filming, and also he's touched me. His kindness, generosity, his commitment, you know, and let's get it done. Let's do this. He believes in what I'm doing, even if I don't believe in myself sometimes, you know. He's a hero, you know, and it's crazy for, you know, people calling me a hero, and I'm looking at Scott as a hero. You know, I want to be just like that guy when I grow up. I think I'm older than he is too.
I want people to know that there's other people like me out there that support, you know, police and all the services, but specifically this weekend, there's a lot of support. You know, police have taken a pretty bad rap the last couple years. You know, whatever your opinion on that is, there's support out there. And my goal here is to let everybody know that I and we here at Spruce Row support our law enforcement and are happy to do something like this to show that support.
And, you know, we ended the day with the concert. What a perfect cherry on top for the weekend. Have a nice, you know, band, just play some good live music.
Good show. Spruce Row!
Spruce Row! Spruce Row!
Campers, baby!
tough job to start with, and it makes it even tougher when nobody's got your back except each other, and that's what really saddens me. So I like to remind people that, hey, these guys and gals out there are risking their life for you every day. They deserve a little support and a little credit. Because a lot of times we can't go places and talk shop. Nobody wants to hear it. Here you could catch people in groups standing around talking shop, and nobody's going to be offended, or it's nice to talk outside of having that uniform and vest on. To people who are going to understand what you're going through. I think the takeaway should be, hey, if you liked it, tell more people about it, because the more cops we can get to do this and just come in and see what it is and enjoy everyone's company, you're just going to attract more and more people to do it. And any relief we can get these guys and gals it's a lifesaver sometimes, literally.
Our profession does not dictate the people we are, but I think it's an opportunity to educate society in a camping environment, because everybody who camps, they tend to be good souls, and I mean, look how close everybody is here. Everybody knows what you're doing on your site because you're so close, but it's an opportunity for us to educate people, and they can take that message that we have here and spread it when they get home. Say, oh, we went to this campground and this is what was going on. And so educating the masses through events like this, I think is what helps.
It's those simple times in between the chaos that help with dealing with tragedy or dealing with hardship. It's the connection again, right? Connection with each other. That's just basic human relationship. And it's such an important part of this whole thing. And if I were to sum up what is Cops and Campers, I would say exactly that. It's connection based on what we do, and it's a time to relax and just enjoy the company of people who can relate to where you are.
You're free to believe what you want. You're free to have your beliefs. I'm free to have mine. And this has always been a place where I've allowed that, within reason, as long as things remain tactful and people remain nice to each other. That's what I want people to know about me. I may not believe what you believe, but that's okay. And we can still be friends and we can still get along. And to me, that's what a lot of this weekend is. There's people that may or may not agree with the support that I give, and that's okay. But allow me that freedom, and that's what I want. That's what I want people to know. That's what I want people to remember.
It's almost like, I don't know, in police terms it might be debriefing, but we get to kind of vent about the hardships of being married to law enforcement, and to come together in a fun environment, I think is amazing. I would encourage more people to do it, especially people who need it. It could be like counseling, but you don't realize it's counseling. You're just picking a weekend to go camp and have fun with other people. So I think it's been awesome.
It was fun. Everybody was fantastic. You meet some really good people. People that we probably never would have met had we not been here, and we've made some lifelong friends. It's been a blast. It really has been.
Once you get here, it's like these people, you feel like you've known them forever, and you will definitely get something out of it. If it's a friendship, that's great. You might get even more out of it. But not just for us, but for our families. It's for our kids, for our wives. They have that support network now, and it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep growing. This is going to be, talking to Eric last night, I can't wait to see where it is 5 years from now.
You might find a friend that's a therapist for you. You don't even know it. And you might do the same for him, or her. You know how that feeling where you don't trust anybody sometimes in your own circle? There's none of that here. There's none of it. There's no policies, no city, no mandates, no SOPs, none of that here. It's just you and a bunch of other guys who have gone through the same thing, It's really magical.
Waiting for a spot on an angled line. Driving to the outside, wasting my time. Took my place high on the rise. Look at them ants push away their prize. But I'd be free as a bird in a Walmart parking lot. I'm proud to be just who I am. Salute the flag just like Uncle Sam. My Yankee do good without a dime. Work for nothing in their overtime. But I'd be free as a bird in a Walmart parking lot.
Nice window.
Thank you. It's custom made.
It's a tactical window. It's breakaway.
Yes, it is.